Good afternoon. So we will reinitiate the process. So we have gone through how different data types can be initiated and how we can work with different kinds of data given, and how can we convert from one type of data to the other type, and how can we manage with the different kinds of strings applied, etc. Right. So now we will little enter into the major part. So how actually we can able to apply input and produce output in Python. For example, this is a very basic way of applying an input, right? That we know if we want to print something, so whatever the values, whatever the characters, or whatever the type of data it is. So if we are giving inside the print, depending on the type of the data, that will be printed as an output, right? So it is taking some time. Please hold a while. Yeah. So this is the way how it is going to print. Similarly, when we are initiating a variable like this, so a equal to 10 kind of way, and print the value of a is comma a. It means that in a basic C language, how we take some kind of or not take, how we print the variable as an output, the same way, right? Printf of something, whatever the string that we want to place, that one, comma the variable which is carrying the value, right? So similarly, I'm trying to give a produce the output also here. So the value of a is comma a. For example, okay. So the value of a is a, that is the value of a inside is 10. Similarly, the other way around is we can just attach or concatenate two different strings in this format. I repeat, we can just concatenate two different strings in this format. Like for example, instead of taking some kind of syntax in this fashion, we can also add two different strings. This is one string and this is the other string. We can add two different strings with a plus mark or addition, right? So whatever the value, whatever the character length it is, it will be considering that and printing it as a first part. And then it is just converting the value of a, which is an integer, into a string value and trying to attach with the value of a, like this, right? So this is also possible with Python, where the result, the whole result, whatever is there, will be converted into a format of string. Similarly, if we want to format the output like this, in this is one kind of fashion, right? So we have multiple ways of understanding the input and printing it in different formats. So this is another way where I am giving two different inputs, a equal to 10 and b equal to 20, and considering the value like this. So I'm trying to print the value of a is, I have taken a flower brace wherein the value of a will be defaultly printed from the format keyword. A is a flower brace and b is a flower brace. Dot format is a keyword where if there are any flower braces inside, those places can be filled with whatever the values that are there inside this format keyword. So we have two empty spaces inside the string, whatever that we wanted to print, and hence these empty spaces will be filled by a and b, and hence we are getting an output result as 10 and b is 20, right? Similarly, the other way is we can give the value like a equal to 10, b equal to 20, the same things I'm considering here, and print the value of b is 1. What is this 1? My first input is 10, second input is 20 in the order I'm considering, right? So the position of those inputs are, this is 0 and this is 1. The same way I'm considering inside the format a comma b. So whatever the position of the variable inside the format keyword are considered as 0, this as 1. So if we want to specifically mention those positions of the variables, then they can be directly assigned like this. The value of B is 1, flower brace 1, and A is flower brace 0. It means that A value is 0, which is assigned to this statement, and B value is 1, which is assigned to this statement. And that is reason why we have got some output like the value of B is 20 and A is 10. Similarly, the other way of attending or able to printing these things is, I have a very long character or string or statement available, and now what I am trying to do is I am trying to replace those values at specific positions. For example, print of hello name greeting dot format, where name is equal to Satish and greeting is equal to good morning. Instead, what we have done here, we haven't taken any specific part and assigned it with a value or some variable. But here what we are considering, we are taking a variable kind of thing and assigning it with some value, which is storing inside it. And whenever we produce output, whatever the variable that is there, that will be redirecting it to the value that is storing inside it. Like this, hello name is assigned with Satish, and hence Satish comma greeting good morning, like this. Similarly, the other way, we are just finding out the positions in this way. So we know the first position is 0, second position is 1, and if there is some other values or variables available, that can be considered like this, right? When you have multiple things together, we may use the last or some of or any of the conditions with the other. So 0th position is Bill, one position is Manfred, and the other position is George. So the story of Bill, Manfred, and George, right? Like that, we can able to concatenate few of the outputs in a different way to print in a single line, right? So next one is printing some kind of output like this. So rather than taking always input from the program itself, user can also give input in this fashion. Num equal to input is a keyword where it helps user to get input to the program. For example, I am Anudeep, and if I type the name or any number, it is fine. Enter a number, I'll take 10 and enter. Then whatever the number that is entered inside will be considered by the interpreter and assigned to num. And when we are asking to print that particular number, then it will be printed, right? So usually a very simple way to make the user to enter input is just to use the keyword input. That's it. Nothing is there. Even if you are not using any kind of string also, if it is waiting for some user input like this, you can just give something and it will be produced in the output. That's it, right? So to understand what actually user should give, for example, earlier I have typed Anudeep a string as an input, but now after reading into enter a number, I have changed my mind and gave some kind of input as 10, and hence I am getting the output as 10, right? So like that. So these are the two different ways of applying input and producing the output. While formatting, there are plenty of other ways of formatting also. Most possibly we do these kind of most possibly we consider and use these kind of formattings itself, okay? And then now we will move forward to how operators can be used in Python. So there are about 6 different operators I have considered here: arithmetic operator, relational operator, Boolean or logical operator, bitwise operator, assignment operator, and special operators there are, right? So arithmetic operators, we know that there are basic calculation kind of purposes. So I have considered all of them in a single go, like x comma y equal to 10 comma 20. This is a more easier way rather than x equal to 10 and y equal to 10 to be applied. and then x comma y equal to 10 comma 20. So 10 is assigned to x and 20 will be assigned to y, and then print x plus y, so that I'll be printing 10 plus 20. Similarly, if we go for printing subtraction, I'll replace this with outcome of x minus y. Okay, so what is happening? 10 minus 20 is minus 10. Similarly, if we go for multiplication, what happens? I'll be replacing this plus with star. Hence, we have got the result. Similarly, with the division, what happens? The result will be 10 by 20 by, not 10 by 20, hence 0.5. Perfect. And similarly, the modular division, 20 modulo division, 10 modulo division 20, the result is 10. Similarly, double slash and double star, like this, right? So this is the exponent, like x cap y. Like for example, if I take x double star 2, it is nothing but x square, right? So similarly, x double star y means x power of y, and hence we have got some output like that. Similarly, x double division, floor division, we can call it as floor division, yeah, for floor division by 2y, and modular division to y, and we have got some kind of basic mathematical operations like this. And then moving to the comparison operators, we have plenty of comparison operators like this: greater than, less than, equal to. Single equal to means it is an assignment operator, and double equal to means it will be a comparison operator then. And not equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to are the operators here, right? Similarly, like the earlier example, I would like to type and show you what is happening with this. So we have different types of outcomes coming out, whether they are greater than or less than or something like this. So 10, 20, 10 is less than 20 true, 10 is greater than 20 false, 10 is equal to 20 false, 10 not equal to 20 true, and so on, right? So these are the comparison operators that we are trying to work with. Similarly, the logical operators, as earlierly I told, true and false are the two boolean logics that we have, right? Instead of 0 and 1, we use true and false. So while working with logical operators, we have and, or, not, three basic logical operators that we have. And with these three, we can make any number of logical operators according to the requirement, right? So similarly, here instead of zeros and ones, I'm considering it as true and false. So according to that, true and true, true and false, true or false, and true not false, like this, it will be producing some kind of output. Invalid syntax, true not. Okay, it is not considering not here. Okay, so I'm removing this. Sorry, I'm removing this and showing you only the two outputs, right? Similarly, for the bitwise operators also, we have plenty of conditions: bitwise and, bitwise or, bitwise not, bitwise XOR, right shift and left shift. So there are, according to the input that we consider, obviously there will be a different output produced according to the operation that we are considering. Similarly, the assignment operators, I'm a little bit moving in rush, so in order not to type everything, so you can do it later if you need some clarity. Okay, So anybody wants me to type and check means just let me know. I think it is not needed. So basic ones, right? So moving forward, so a is equal to 10, a plus equal to 10. So if we try to print this one, so we are getting it like a plus equal to 10. It means a plus is equal to a plus 10, and hence we are getting it like 20. Similarly, we can go for subtract, multiply, divide, and whatever the operations that are available, and we are calling that as assignment operators. Assignment operators, right? And similarly, there are some special operators like identity operators, whether they are producing the same or not. For example, a equal to 5 and b equal to 5. Is the assignment operator here. So print of a is b equal to 5 is same as 5 or not, and hence the result is true. Similarly, if you are considering two different lists like this, 1 2 3 L2 1 2 3, so we are trying to compare two different lists and it is showing false, right? So you can understand two lists cannot be compared. Similarly, if we want to compare two different strings like this which are same, s1 is not s2, s1 is not s2, hence it is showing that s1 is s2, and hence the result is false. Similarly, the membership operators which are like this, first is equal to 1 2 3 4, print 1 in first, 1 in first, whether there is 1 inside this first or not, right? Similarly, we can check whether there is any value inside D or not. So print 1A to D. So this is a dictionary, and print 1 in D. We are getting it like true. So it can be either ways used for positive conditions and the negative conditions also, right? So operators are very much important when we are working with some kind of mathematical relations, especially the statistical processings need definitely the operators, especially the mathematical implementations where we are using it. Okay, so moving forward, I have some multiple number of inputs here. I am just randomly considering a math library where the in Python, as said, there are plenty of libraries available given by plenty of researchers or donors. Okay, so each library is named with some or the other meaning. So here math is one library that have different kinds of mathematical operators included inside, and we are just trying to use the mathematical operator and make the operation more quicker as possible. Okay, it is not that okay, when you don't use math and directly follow some mathematical relation by writing some formula, yes, it also produces the result, but the only thing is, as said, Python is a bit lazy while producing some outcomes. So that is the reason why we are forcing ourselves to use libraries rather than writing it or explaining it in some code fashion directly, right? So I'm importing the math and finding out what could be the result. There are too many sessions open, it seems. It is asking to close. I have closed. For the first time to run any cell, it will take a bit time to connect to the server. Still connecting. Right, so it run. So import math. I have imported the math. Now x is equal to math dot cos of 2 star math dot pi. So pi is a keyword and it is included in math library, right? So the value of the pi that we know is 3.1415, so on, right? So what now we are doing is math dot cos, other function. So cos is a cosine function where it will be considering some values in this fashion, x comma something, right? So math dot cos, math dot pi, instead of considering some values directly, if I use math dot, the value whatever that is there inside the math library will be directly considered and produced with some output like print of x, right? So cos cos 2 pi. What is cos 2 pi? 1. That is printed as 1.0 because we have considered pi, which is a floating value. Hence, x is also given with a floating value and printed with a floating function, floating fashion. Right. Alternatively,
Why you kept math inside cos also once again?
Madam, math is basically a function, a library. So instead of directly writing some code or some equation, I'll use math so that the process will be more easier, more faster.
Okay, already you are using before cos.
This is for cos and this is for pi.
Okay.
Individually, I can use. I should use. Ah. So whenever we want some kind of keywords to be used, then we'll be using it like math.cos, math.sin, math.pi, math.some other function, etc. Right. Similarly, not only pi, if you want some kind of for Columbus rule or some other rules, like when we use epsilon or finding out some kind of force relations, etc., then also we can go for math dot epsilon, math dot some other symbols that they are existing. Right, they are all inside the math library, and hence we are using it rather than giving a floating point till some value. For example, we'll be using just like 3.141, but actual value is 3.1419 and so on. There are about 8 9 values inside, so it will give more precise value comparatively when we manually enter some kind of value with only 2 or 3 after the float values, right? So similarly, alternatively, what we can use to choose is to choose to import all symbols like functions, variables in in a module to the current namespace, so that we don't need to use any kind of prefix math, like earlier we have used it like this, and now I am just replacing it like from math import star. Import star means whatever the keywords that we are considering from this library, that will be imported through this star. Right. So as madam asked me the question, why we are continuously using this math everywhere, to overcome that problem of using multiple maths in the same function, we'll be importing it in a different fashion. Rather than importing math, we are importing a star from math, so that every time I take a star means here some function, whatever the function it is that is there inside this library, that is considered and directly written it like this: x equal to cos of 2 star pi. Hence we are getting a result as the same whatever that is there previously. Similarly, I can also consider only those functions rather than considering all the functions that are available, all the keywords that are available with the math library. I can only consider whatever that I need. So it will be like fetching from the whole house for a pen, or fetching where the actually the table that has pen. It is like that, right? So we'll be getting the things more quicker here, compared to here, compared to here. Okay, so that is what the advantage is, and the comparison between considering how to import in 3 different ways. Next, once a module is imported, we can list the symbols it produces using the directory function. So dir is a function here, and hence when I go with the dir of math, whatever the keywords, that functions that are there inside that library can be seen. So doc is one library, one function, loader is one function, name is one function, package is one function, a cos, a sign, and so on. There are plenty of functions available with this math. Okay, so we can just take some of this function into control and directly use that particular value for wherever we want, right, depending on the application purpose. So
Excuse
similarly,
me, sir.
yeah,
Sir, I did not understand the difference between the above two.
this one, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Initially, what we are doing is we are just importing whole library into control, and then using whatever the keyword that is there, that will be asked to apply. So math.cos means in math library there is a cos function. In math library there is a pi function, and hence we have imported whole library here. We have to give you, we must give that library followed by what function we need. But in the second case, I am importing star. Whatever is necessary inside this function, that will be only imported rather than importing whole math library at a single go. Right. So I am importing whatever are necessary. What is necessary here? Cos is necessary here and pi is necessary here. If there are about 50 different functions inside math library, from 50 different functions, math.cos is one function. Math.pi is another function. So we are considering two different functions at two different places. Here we are considering two different functions at two different places through import function. Okay. In the third case, we are importing only cos and pi. Only cos and pi. If we try to write y is equal to sine of 2 star pi, what happens? It won't run. It will be giving some random value because I haven't taken sine into control. Sine into control. What if I use sine also here? I think just a second. SIN is there. SIN is there, correct only, but why it is giving some different result? So actually my point here is to show whatever the keyword that we are trying to use here, that can be considered here to produce the output. But it is showing me something in a different way. I think there is some issue here. So from math import, it is showing the same result here, though I haven't imported the sine function here. Okay. So usually what happens is how we consider this import is from the math library, only cos and pi values are being imported into this problem. And hence we'll be getting some result. But instead of that, I think the basic Python itself is having a sine function. Like for example, I'll show you this. So the basic Python itself is having the cos and sine functions, and that is the reason why, though I am not importing those cos and pi together by using math library, it is showing us the same output. Okay, I'll show you some other example later. For now, try to keep it other side. Okay. I'll try to show you some other example later. Okay, fine. Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So the idea is that, so where we import a library, and from that library a specific keyword, with that specific keyword we'll be going to implement that specific value and print that value as a result, right? So the process that happen will be more faster compared to more faster here compared to here and here. Okay, so that is how it follows. I'll show you some example with something else. Okay, fine. So this is some kind of help that we can get if we don't know how to find the syntax. So for example, math.log, I know that log is one of the mathematical functions. So when I ask it, it will be showing me that log of x comma base equal to math.e, whatever the e value that we can consider can be placed here. Okay, So what I'm doing now is I'm taking log e, log 10. Log 10 means it is not log 10 base 10. Instead, it is log 10 base e, right? So when we are not specifying the base value, defaultly it is considered as e. Instead, if we want to specify the value of the base, then log of 10 comma whatever the base we need, that we can keep it like this. If it is 2, it will be 3.3 something. If it is like 10, what would be the result? 1, right? So whatever that we want as a base, we must specify here. If we are not specifying, defaultly it considers as, that is, log base e. Okay. Similarly, there are some other things that we can see according to this specific libraries. And other one is assignments. So in assignments also, like for example, I am considering x equal to 1.0. My variable is 12.2. So I want to find out what actually 1.0 is. For that, what I am doing is I am considering type of x. Type of x means 1.0. This is float and the result is float. Fine. Then it is fine. If we assign a new value to the variable, definitely what happens? The old x value will be replaced with a new value. And if I find the type, then it will be int. Similarly, I don't have any y earlier, right? I don't have any y earlier, and I'm trying to print a y value. So it is printing the y value here because I have taken the y in the example here. That is a issue.
Fine, why?
Yeah. That is the reason why it is just loading the same value of output here. But rather, my idea of showing you this is when you don't have any y inside your program and still trying to print some y, then you will be loaded with a name error. That is, name error means you have not defined any value and still trying to print it. Okay. And similarly, some fundamentals like as I shown earlier, we'll be just finding out what is the type of x, what is the type of x when it is integer, float, and similarly when it is boolean, um, similarly when it is complex, when it is some other value and you are trying to print it. And if you want to specifically print that value, like for example, I have x complex value 1.0 minus 1.0 j, right? So here this 1.0 is a real value and this 1.0 minus 1.0 is a imaginary value. So when we specifically ask to print the x value in the form of real and imaginary, then we will be printing it like this. Similarly, if we import something called types, so types means nothing but what are the different inbuilt functions that are available with the Python, right? So we are trying to import those types. So we have all these types. So async generator, built-in functions, built-in methods, cell type, class method descriptor, code type. So usually when you are trying to write a application kind of thing, then we will be specifically using more type of attributes and types. But for now, for understanding a basic Python related things, these are not so much useful, right? But there are plenty of, my idea is not only that there are only integer or only boolean, only they, whatever the math related types, they are on, they are not only those five types. There are plenty of other types also available, which is useful for which is useful while we build some kind of application point of view. So next one is x equal to 1.0. So we are just finding out what is the type of x, and we are just questioning whether it is a float or not. Hence it is giving me a result like this. So instead of only finding out what is a type kind of thing, instead we are just finding out true or false kind of results. And similarly, type of x is int. Similarly, a false kind of output will be getting. Is instance, another one. Is instance is one kind of method to test. So is instance means, is it right, is it wrong kind of question. So is instance x comma float. So if you have x value as a float 1.0, definitely it will be compared with float and printing the result rather than just type of x is float. This is another way of questioning whether this is same or not, or this is different or not. And the other one, typecasting, we have already seen. So we can convert from one type of type to the other type of type. Sorry. So we can find out what actually the type is, or we can find what actually the type, and we can convert it into the other type also. So here I have considered x as 1.5, which is a floating value, right? So when we are printing it, it is replying as the same 1.5 of the type float, right? So I want to convert this floating value 1.5 into integer, and what I am doing is x equal to int of x. That means whatever the value of x is, I don't mind, better convert into an integer. And hence we are getting it like when you are printing the text 1 int type int. Or if you want to see what is happening with the complex value, z equal to complex of x. Initially float, that we converted into integer, and that we wanted to convert it into complex. So hence we are getting the result like 1 plus 0j, because there is no complex value, and hence we are representing that complex part as 0j. So it has become a complex function now, complex variable now, and the type of the variable is complex. Similarly, if I ask this complex variable to be float, x equal to float of z, x equal to float of z, I want to make the x value to be float of z. What is z? 1 plus 0j. It means I cannot able to convert or assign this value to this one, because x is there and z is there. So I cannot able to assign the value of z, where the complex value to a complex value as a float to x. Okay. And then the boolean functionalities like y equal to bool of z dot real. 1 minute. Bool complex. Yeah. Complex variables cannot be cast to floats or integers. That's what we have seen here. The same example is shown again here. So it cannot be converted into some other format, right? So keep remember that when you have any complex values in your bucket, you cannot convert into float or integer, but a float and integer can be converted into complex value. And then coming to operators and comparisons, as we have seen some examples earlier, we can also do multiple actions at the same time. So 1 plus 2, 1 minus 2, 1 star 2, 1 by 2, and can store all of them in the single form of result, right? Like this. Similarly, I can do the same action by taking floating values into control. I can take this integer division to for floating values, and I can also make some kind of a power b actions like this. So simple, right? And I can also make some kind of operations between uh, boolean functions, like true false are two booleans, and I'm applying and operator to true and false. So true and false will be obviously false, and the result is like this. And you can also apply not, we can also apply or. So these are the three operators that we have to find the conditions between true and false. Similarly, the comparison operators, I have taken some random examples, 2 versus 2, and finding out whether they are producing the same result or not. You can find that in this condition, I have taken two opposite things together. So 2 greater than 1, 2 less than 1, and they are printing something in the form of true comma false. Similarly, 2 greater than 2, 2 less than 2, false comma false. Similarly, 2 greater than or equal to 2, 2 less than or equal to 2, true comma true. But in equality, when you are assigning multiple things to find out some value with some value, you must keep it in a form of a list. 1 comma 2 list is equal to 1 comma 2 list. Yes, these two are true, equal, true. Similarly, objects identical or not, like L1 equal to L2 equal to 1 comma 2. So both I have assigned with 1 comma 2 list, and hence L1 is L2, definitely true, right? And yeah, compound types like strings, lists, and dictionaries. So we have seen how strings, lists, dictionaries can be defined and operated. So these are just some sort of examples, that's it. So I am taking s equal to hello world, which is a string, and I'm finding out what is the type of this s. We got it as string. Similarly, if I want to find what is the length of the string, there is a keyword inside Python, that len stands for length of this s. So hello 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. So including one empty space, it is overall 11 size. So that length of the s is 11. Similarly, if you want to replace something with the other words, then also it is possible, because s has two different words here, hello space world, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm creating a new variable s2, where this s2 will be filled with whatever the value that is there inside s, with any change that I want to make. For example, if s dot replace, then it will be just replacing whatever that is there inside, that is world is replaced with test. So hello test. Okay, if I want to replace the value of hello also, I can keep that here, not a problem. Okay, so similarly, if you want to find the position of some string, or whatever the position that we give, and find what is there inside that position, I can get it like this, right? So similarly,
Sir,
exactly like, yeah,
how can we calculate the length of the strings without including the white spaces?
we should exclude the white spaces. We should give a obligation that I should not calculate the white space. We will come back to that. Okay,
Okay, sir.
yeah. Yeah. So exactly like how we use the MATLAB operators, like each two. Here also we have some functionalities how to proceed with that each two operator. So that is how we use this operator is, if we start from one value to the other value, we'll be using this. For example, I want to print whatever the values that are there here, hello space test. So I want to print only the first five values or variable things, whatever are there. So I'm trying to print it here, HELLO, right? If I want only one value, then also it is possible. Or if I want to come from the opposite side, that is also allowed. So one advantage that we can see here is exactly like a MATLAB. If we don't want to start, if we don't want to give the start value, if it is starting from the 0th position, then we can just skip it off like this. Empty each to 5. It means start to 5. Or the other way around, we are starting from some value and ending at the last value. So start will be 6 and end will be anything, not anything, the last thing, right? That is how we use the MATLAB based functionalities also here. So this means s of start to end. So hence we are getting it like hello world, right? Similarly, if we want to keep some kind of step between one part to the other part, like for example s of starting to ending with one step, like for example h one step, e one step, l one step, l one step, o one step, space, and so on, right? So here you can identify the difference. So if I'm considering start to end with space 2, so now what happened? H is the first letter that is printed. First character is printed. E is skipped because this is first position, and second position is L that is printed. Third position is skipped. Fourth position is O that is printed, and so on. Okay, like that we'll be trying to print whatever the second places are there inside the character, inside the string. And other kinds of formattings. Just I wanted to show you how different spaces can be filled, or how the positions of these things can be printed, or how we can be concatenating few number of strings together in the print statement itself, or how we can able to make some kind of operations inside the print statement itself. For example, if you see this print value equal to percentage f percentage 1.0, so whatever the result that is here 1.0 is assigned to the value and be printed. So this is called C style string formatting, right? So similarly, s2 equal to value 1 equal to percentage dot 2f dot value 2 equal to percentage d. It means whatever the value that we want to assign here. For example, I'm considering the percentage values as 3.1415 comma 1.5. So the first value will be assigned to this one, second value will be assigned to this one. As we are mentioning that this is 2f floating value, as it is the value that is there will be printed with two floats, that is 1 and 4. But here I'm only looking for an integer, not the floating value, but the value assigned here is floating value, hence only the integer part of the floating value is considered and printed. Other way, s3 equal to value 1, which is equal to position 0, value 2 equal to position 1, as we have seen earlier. So I am using the format keyword to assign 0th position with 3.1415 and 1th position with 1.5. And I have considered a list L equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to print that value and making some operations with those list by considering that each two operator into control. So print L, all the things will be printed. Print 1 to 3, the first 0th position and the 4th position is skipped, and 2, 3 positions are printed, and similarly first to last with two separations. So 1, 0, 2 is skipped, 3, 4 is skipped. They are all printing like this. Similarly, if we want to start with 0th index, then we can just call the 0th index. What is 0th index? Then we will be printing the 0th value in the index, from the index. So again, a list I have considered with 4 different kinds of types. So similarly, something called nested list. This is also a bit confusing one. So nested list is something where we'll be using one list on the other list. For example, I have only 5 as a one list, 4 and 5 as another list, 3 and 4, 5 as another list, 2 and 3 and 4, 5 as another list, and so on. Right. So there are some places where we also use these kind of nested lists together. Okay. And then I'm just finding out the range. For example, I have assigned some value 10, 30, and step is 2. And now I have taken a keyword range in Python. Directly in Python, I have taken a keyword range where I'm considering what is the start value, stop value, and step value like this. Okay, so it will be printing whatever the result that is possible with it. So if you find this one, list of, this is range 10 to 30 with two different spaces, two space. So list of range start, stop, step 10, 32. Right. Now it is considering, it is generating a new list from 10 to 30 with a 2 separator. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and so on till 28. As Python doesn't take the last value, 30 is skipped. Similarly, list of range minus 10 to 10, it will be printing from minus 10 to plus 10. As said, the last value is skipped. So whatever I have considered earlier in yes, hello world is there, that is printed here, hello world. Now I'm working with hello world by converting it into a list format. So list of yes. So individually, how many number of characters are there are considered here like this. Okay. So s2 dot sort print of s2. S2 dot sort means whatever the result that is there, sorted result according to the ASCII values it can be, and that are stored in S2, and I'm trying to print that S2. So initially the empty space is having the lower value that is printed, and so on. Similarly, I'm considering an empty space like this, L equal to empty list, L dot append of A, append of D, append of D. So print L, I can able to append some values inside a list, that is allowed. Similarly, if I want to append some new values to the positions of the existing list, I can able to append, right? Or I can able to replace, not append. Similarly, L of 1 to 3. So I'm giving now the positions 1 to 3. It means 1, 2, last thing is skipped. So 1 and 2 places will be replaced with D's, and hence the result is A, D, and D. Similarly, if I want to insert some extra values or extra characters inside the list, I can do that. So L dot insert at 0th position I, first position N, second position S, and so on, 5th position T. So like that, I can insert some things, and along with that, I already have these values A, D, D inside L. So hence, those values, whatever are there earlier, are moved to the right side, and whatever the 0 to 5 values are there are inserted before that. Or if you are considering some kind of list functionality like this, so 0, 1, 2, insert 3i, 4n, and so on. After ADD, we will be getting those insert insert characters after ADD. And also we can able to easily remove by specifying the value name. So here I want to remove the character A, which is in the list. So L dot remove of A will be removed. A is removed from the list L. Similarly, if I want to delete completely, there is a difference between remove and delete. Delete is something that which completely deletes out of the given variable, and remove means only remove for that instant. So insert will be printed finally after we delete the 7 and 6 positions. Similarly, as we have seen some operations on lists, now we'll be going to see operations on tuples. So which is an immutable data types, right? So point equal to 10 comma 20. So if I get what the type of the point is, I can get it like tuple, right? Now I want to see, instead of 10 comma 20 in normal braces, I can directly give point equal to 1020, then also it will be considered as tuple. I repeat, instead of giving them in normal braces, if we directly give point equal to 10 and 20, then also it will be considering as tuple. It will be storing the given input as tuple. So as we know, tuple is immutable, so we cannot make so many operations inside the tuple. But x comma y equal to point, print x equal to x, y equal to y. We are just considering whatever the values are there that are being assigned with the values inside the tuple, like x equal to 10 and y equal to 20. We are not coming in other way. The other way cannot be mutable, right? Similarly, we cannot add something to the existing value of the tuple. That's what it will show you a result that tuple object does not support item assignment. Similarly, parameters, some parameters can be considered like this, 1, 2, 3, and so on, a dictionary kind of thing. And we can find what is the class of that one, that is dictionary, and what are the key values and what are the values. These are the keys and these are the values. We can find out them individually by printing it like this. Similarly, we can add, we can delete, or we can make some changes or updations to these files. So print of parameter 1 equal to something plus string params of parameter 1. It means parameter 1 equal to is a general line to print first, like this, print parameter 1 equal to, and then the output is concatenated, which is coming out of str of params of parameter 1. What is parameter 1? 1.0, right? So params of 1 means 1.0 integer value. Now I am converting this float value, and now I am converting this float 1.0 to string, and then concatenating, not concatenating, adding this string to the parameter 1 string, right? Like that we are getting it like parameter 1 equal to 1.0, parameter 2 equal to 2.0, parameter 3 equal to 3.0, whatever that I have taken from the dictionary. Similarly, I can assign those things, whatever the parameter 1, parameter 2 are there, I can assign those params as A, B, and any new entry that we want that can be added, right? So I'm replacing the existing values of parameter 1 with A, 2 with B. I'm not disturbing 3, but I'm adding one more parameter to the existing params and printing all of them like this: parameter 1 equal to A, 2 equal to B, 3 equal to 3.0, 4 equal to D. It shows that we can make some kind of operation, some kind of additions or some kind of deletions out of any dictionary, right? Similarly, if we go for control flow, I'll just concentrate on very few control statements now. Just find it. um, I have plenty of like any other language, I have plenty of conditional statements available, like for, if, while, etc., switch, etc., right? Here I want to show some difference between the earlier low level languages, like low level language based interpreters, or not interpreters, uh, compiler based languages versus this Python, right? So I have something like this: statement 1 equal to false, statement 2 equal to false. These are the two inputs that I have, right? Now if statement 1, print statement 1 is true. Elif, ELIF, you have to remember this. ELIF means else if, right? In Python we'll write else if as ELIF, right? So elif statement 2, print statement 2 is true, else statement 1 and statement 2 are false. So if false, print statement is true. As it is false, it won't print. Elif false, statement 2 is true. As it is false, it won't print. And then as these two are not true, the other one what is available is else statement 1 and statement 2 are false. Got it? So instead of else if, ELSEIF or ELSIF in some languages, instead of both the things, what we use here is ELIF. Okay, and you see the syntax: if statement 1 colon. Okay, this colon is also must. Similarly, elif statement 2 colon. As the last one doesn't have any statement to write, we should use colon. Okay, like that we'll be writing the syntax of if else if statements, and we'll be printing some outputs. So this is how it goes. And similarly, statement 1 equal to statement 2 equal to true. Now instead of using if else if, I can also go for comparing two statements in this way. So if statement 1, this is true, as I have given true, statement 1 true, hence if statement 1, if true, definitely, and we'll be going inside if statement 2, that means if again statement true is true, obviously true, and then print both statement 1 and statement 2 are true. Okay, similarly bad indentation, so you can observe this, there is an indentation here, there is an indentation here, double the indentation. Here there are 4 spaces, here there will be 8 spaces. Okay, so here I'm making that indentation fault, and hence the output is showing that there is an indentation error. Okay, similarly if I have considered the indentation, then it will produce the output. Okay, statement 1 is false if statement 1, print this one, printed if statement is true. Next, print still inside the if block. If I run this one, what happens? Statement 1 equal to false, Statement 1 is false. If statement 1, if false, then there is no point of getting in. Similarly, as there is an indentation here, it means that this statement print still inside if block is also inside this if statement. Right. As these two are in the if statement, there won't be nothing to print, and hence there is no output here to print. Right. So the correct way of writing this statement, if statement 1 printed if statement is true, print. Here we have taken it as true, hence print now outside the if block. Okay, clear? So that is how we could able to make use of indentation to print some results. And it is mandatory to follow indentation while we are working with especially the conditional statements. And next for also it will be like the same. So we have to follow some indentation. For example, for x in 1 2 3, so I have taken a list 1 2 3, I want to print x. So 1 loop again repeated, 2 loop repeated, 3 and out. Similarly, for x in range 4, print x. So here the syntax that you can see is for x in list value column, I'll follow some indentation and try to print the value of x. In the second case, for x in, instead of giving some number of values, I'm giving the range. Range means it will start from 0 to whatever the value that I'll give. So 0 to some 4, it means 4 will be skipped and till 3 it will consider. So print x, so 0, 1, 2, 3. Clear? So next one is minus 3 to 3. Instead of mentioning only positive values, I'm also going for negative values. So minus 3 to 3, whatever are there, they will be printed except the last value. Okay. If I am considering some strings instead of the values, integers or something, I can also consider strings, and those can also be printed this way. For word in scientific, print word, computing print word, with print word, Python print word. Right. So every time it enters, it will be trying to print a new string that we have kept inside the for loop. Similarly, params.items. So for key comma value in params.items, print key plus equal to plus str of value. Here what it is considering for each and every value of key, it could be 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. It could be, not exactly. So for whatever the key that we are considering, value in params.items, parameters.items, print the key value whatever is there plus equal to, what is the key value usually? Parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, parameter 4 and so on, depending on the size that we consider. But here only 3 parameters, right? And then value, what is value? Every time one value, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0 and so on. As we have only 3 parameters, it will be 1.0, 2.0 and 3.0. Now these parameters are added to the values through equal to. Right. So the first statement that will print is parameter 1 equal to 1.0. Next it will go up, parameter 2 equal to 2.0. Next again parameter 3 equal to 3.0. Like that. Sometimes it is useful to have access to the indices of the values when iterating over a list. For example, when we use something called enumerate function, enumerate is, it will be giving you something like this: for idx comma x in enumerate range of 3 comma minus 3 comma 3. Whatever the values that are there, minus 3 comma 3 will be filled according to the serial order. Enumerate tries to fill us some kind of index in that format. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each value of that between minus 3 to 3. Minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. Like that. To go little deeper into some other loops also, I can use loops inside some statements like this. L1 list 1 equal to x star star 2. It means x power 2 for x in range 0, 5. What does it mean? X square for x in range 0, 5. 0 square, 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, and 4 square. 5 is excluded. As it is in Python, we'll till go with the highest value minus 1 kind of thing. So for every individual value like this, initial 0, 0 square, 1, 1 square 1, 2, 2 square 4, 3, 3 square 9, 4, 4 square 16. 5 is excluded. And the same way, while loop also works in the similar fashion. I am considering some random value. So I is equal to 0 to start with some flow. While I less than 5, print I. It means it is starting from 0. So definitely first value will be 0 less than 5. So print 0. 0 equal to 0 plus 1. Repeat. Again, 1 is less than 5. Print. 1 equal to, sorry, I equal to 1 plus 1. Again, print. While 2 less than 5, print 2. I is equal to 2 plus 1. Go back. 3 less than 5, print 3. I equal to 3 plus 1. Now it is 4. 4 less than 5, print 5. Print 4. I is equal to 4 plus 1, 5. And again it will go inside and then stop and print done. Right. So 5 times it will be starting from 0 and printing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in the 5th time it is less than 5. Hence while loop is skipped off and moved to the next statement to print done. Same way, like the loops, we also have functions to define on our own, right? So like how we define function in functions in or classes in C or C++, here also we are trying to define the same. So here we can use any name of the function, not a problem, except the keyword, right? So we have to use something called DEF, definition DEF, for any name of the function except the keywords. So DEF, I have considered func0, func0. So print test, whenever I call func0, automatically this will be printed. Okay, so we can see right. So whatever the value is there inside, that will be just blindly printed. But only thing we have to follow is when we are trying to prepare functions, when you are trying to define some function, the syntax is def non-keyword, whatever are there that we can consider here, colon and an indentation. Okay, like that we can able to create some functions. Similarly, if we want to like create some multiple kind of statements together, then also it is possible. Def function1 of s, I'm taking some values here. Print is string s and tell how many character it is. Print of, so it is considered in quotations, print of s plus has plus str of length of s plus characters, right? So whatever that is there earlier, if there is any s kind of function that is available, that will be given with some outcome and produced as an output. So if you run function1, so instead of function1 of test, what happens? Test has 4 characters. It means s, whatever the value that is there that we are putting here inside, that is s. S is replaced with test. Test has how many number of characters are there? T, E, S, T, 4. So characters of test and the length of the stress is test is 4 characters. S is replaced with test. Test has 4 characters, right? So similarly, if we want some kind of help for the function, anyone, so we can consider it like this: help of function1, help on function func1 in module main. So function of s, print a string s and tell how many characters it is, right? So whatever that we wanted to print here, that is printed here. Okay, So that is how it will work. So the comments whatever are there are really helpful even for the user defined functions like this. And some kind of square kind of thing is there. I want to define that. Instead of using a math library, I'm defining a function square. Def square of x, return x double star 2. Hence if I go with some value square of 4, I'm getting a result as 16. Similarly, powers, I have some powers here. So according to that, I'll be getting some results with input 3. 3 square, 3 cube, 3 power 4, etc. So I can also write the same kind of fashion, whatever the result that I have got here similarly. So x2, x3, x4, 3 have 3 are equal to powers of 3. What is powers of 3? What is powers this one? Powers of 3 is 9, 27, 81. And I am trying to print only x3. Hence, this 27 is assigned to x3 and that is printed. Okay. Or if you want x2, x3, x4, then 9, 27, 81 will be printed. And other one is def my function xp2 debug equal to false. So debug equal to false means whenever it when there is a false, like I'm defining a function my function, in that I am considering an x value and some p which is equal to 2, and whenever this debug means if you find some error, we'll be trying to fix it. When you don't find error, then debug equal to false. So print evaluating my function for x plus string of x. What is string of x? Some value plus using exponent p equal to something plus str of p. It means whatever the value that is x star star p, x star p, that will be produced as an output. So how it is produced? With a statement evaluating function for x equal to something, like for example 5 is 5 using exponent some value, that is 25, right? So if you run this one, you can understand my function of 5 star star 2, that is 25. Similarly, if you want to specifically find this one, so instead of debug, we will be replacing this false with true. Then what we are getting, this is getting inside, the statement is interpreter is getting inside if and trying to print evaluating function for x equal to, what is evaluating function? That is 5 plus using exponent p equal to, what is exponent p? 2 plus that string value 2. So evaluating my function for x equal to 5 using exponent 2, right? That is how this is printed. So whenever we wanted to make that statement to enter into or not enter into, then we'll be using false and true according to our interest. We can also just try without this debug part, that is also allowed, but only to understand that debug can also be used to just enter and do not enter into the if class. Similarly, I said here I have used debug at the third position, and now I have moved to the second position. Now what happens? So evaluating my function for x equal to 7 using exponent p equal to 3. So how it has happened? Here evaluating my function for x equal to 5 using exponent p equal to 2. Now what happened? I'm considering 3, p equal to 3 and x equal to 7, but because of the position change, what is trying to do is it have moved x before p, and hence we are getting the result as something 7 power 7 power 7. Another important keyword called lambda. Lambda is something that we'll be trying to use it as a open keyword. Open keyword. We use lambda for many sort of applications, right? So we don't want to like manually create a keyword and want to use lambda. Yes, you are allowed to use, right? So you can see 1, 2 examples to understand this. F1 equal to lambda x square. So now what I'm calling is def f2 of x. What is x? X square, and hence it will be returning what is the value of x. So if I have 2 inside f1 2, then obviously output is 2 square 2. Similarly f2, similarly output is 2. So we'll be just trying to define this definition with a single line statement like this. You understand? So instead of defining a new function f2 and asking to return x square, I am using something called lambda, which is a predefined function in Python, and using that I am calling x equal to x square if f1 is something, right? So f1 of x, f1 of 2, 2 square, that is 4. That's it, right? For some kind of map functions, means we'll be assigning 2-3 different things to the same content. So here you can observe map of lambda x equal to x square, range -3 to 4, right? -3 to 4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So for each individual value in this range will be applied with x square and printed. Okay, so here I'm not asking the map function to print. Then in the next case, I'm trying to take it in the form of a list, not printing, considering it as a list itself. So list of map of lambda x square, range -3 comma 4. So -3 square is 9, -2 square is 4, -1 square is 1, 0 square 0, 1 square 1, 2 square 4, 3 square 9, and 4 square it is not considered, right? So the last value in Python is skipped. Like that, we'll be using the lambda instead of defining a user defined function, right? So this lambda is used especially in many of the open source codes in a vast way, rather than defining some keyword which may not be understandable by the new user. So they use lambda a lot. Next, similarly, there are some classes to prepare, especially you can see there are this init is very much helpful one. So we'll just understand this one and move to the programming part again, assignment part after this. So what I'm doing now is I'm creating a class called point. What this point is, this is a simple class for representing point in Cartesian coordinate system. Right. So what I am doing is I have created a class called point, wherein I have created 3 different definitions. What are these definitions? One is init, next one is translate, other one is string. So in init, self comma x comma y. So what it will try to do is it will be trying to create a new point at x and y. That is self dot x equal to x, self dot y equal to y. Similarly, if we want to translate self dx dy, translate the point by dx and dy in the x and y direction. That is, I know what self dot x is from this point. I know what self dot y is from this point. Now, what I am doing is I am adding it to the direction. That is, self dot x plus equal to dx, self dot y plus equal to dy. So that what we will get, these two get added to produce a new value. And then I'm considering str of self, where it will be trying to return whatever the values that are there inside this self dot x and y. So if you want to now print individual instances, now p1 equal to point of 0 comma 0, it will be trying to print two str.x and str.y. Both are zeros, and hence it will be converting it into some value of float and printing it like 0.00000, so on 6 times, right? Similarly, if I want to give 1, the initial value of the outcome can be 1 and 1, but I wanted to translate it with p1. So what now I am getting is p1 dot translate 1.000 so on 6 times, 1.00 so on 6 times are translated to 0.25 and 1.5, and they are printed in this fashion. So whenever we try to init, translate, and str, these are some of the definitions that we hardly use in our regular programming part, which can be used for this multi-assignment process, right? Especially when we create some kind of classes and invoke some number of values into it. Okay. Similarly, there are some modules that are available, like how we have seen the class variables. There are also modules available. We will see this module part with some other examples in the next session. Okay. So till now, any doubts? Till now, how it is? The first part that we have gone through in the morning, the second session of the morning, will be a very basic kind of thing. And the first part in the afternoon session, what we have gone through will be a little extension, except this part of the programming where we are trying to create some kind of functions, and then trying to print some kind of outputs out of the functions calling, and then considering some lambda functions kind of thing which are inbuilt. Instead of creating a user functions, we are using those lambdas to produce some kind of output, storing some values, and produce some kind of outputs, and then moving to some kinds of classes where we init and simple string creations, right? So as I am repeating, we hardly use these inits and translates and strs very little time, but it is like kind of, as we are into the training part, we have to at least see once how these classes are being operated. Okay. If you have any doubts, just let me know.
Raga, can you can ask directly whatever he is having some.
Okay,
Can
madam.
you tell us little more about methods, like what is that, str, etc.?
Yeah, yes, actually that's what I'm trying to put. These modules whatever are there, so these are different kinds of classes. Like what is meant by class? It is a kind of library kind of thing where you will be defining some function, and whenever you call that function, it will be running the whole set of process that you are defining in the class, right? So there are some specific places where we try to use these kind of class type of executions in Python, not every time. So if I 1 minute, I'll make some example for you to be clear. Like you have any knowledge on C++? Someone? Who is this? Yeah, Raga. You have knowledge on C++? Okay. So usually what we try to do is in definitions. So we have a lot more definitions we do in each and every language, right? So here I'm defining something called init here, where the process is self dot something, self dot something. So these are connected with some format, and this format is being connected with something called this definition. And if you see translate, I have connected the self, dx and dy in some other format, right? Similarly, if I take str, I have connected these x and xy self in different format, right? So in this specific class, we are defining some 3 different specific things where we can call this one to perform this kind of action. Okay. Like in general school times, what it will be there, like a few number of people are assigned with some cricket, few number of people are assigned with football, few number of people are assigned with some other games. When it combines together, it is a class. Here also the same thing, though we have limited set of items, we'll be trying to assign it with different kinds of operations to call. That's it. I'll try to show you some executable code in the next session, so to understand better about this init. Not only init, even the str and all. Anything else? Anything else? I know it is little difficult again to understand classes if you don't have knowledge on C++. I know, but wait a while. As said, there are a few more sessions for us to actually jump into how quickly we try to program in Python. These are a very basic level of things that I wanted to show you as you are just started with the Python programming. Okay, don't worry. I'll clarify you in a more